You ever wake up in the morning and realize your entire existence is to be squashed flat by an overalls-wearing plumber with a borderline caffeine addiction? Because in the Mushroom Kingdom, that's the reality for millions of Goombas every single day. Meet the Goomba. No arms, no defense, no master plan, one life mission. Walk forward and die. Welcome to the channel. I am Zane Mercer, and let me take you on a tragic yet strangely hilarious journey into the underappreciated existence of the Mushroom Kingdom's most stoppable foe. This is Goomba Pain, the documentary. Let's set the stage. It's 1985, Nintendo is cooking up what will become one of the most iconic platformers of all time, Super Mario Bros. Now, they've already got a few enemy types in there, Koopas, Hammer Bros, the works, but they need something simpler, something that even your grandma can beat in 2 seconds without a second thought. And thus, the sad life of Goomba began. Think about it. If your entire species was created last minute with minimum effort, how much respect do you think you'll get? Not a whole lot. And they've carried this reputation for decades. The bottom of the Mushroom Kingdom food chain. Literally made to be stomped on, kicked, or roasted by fireballs whenever Mario needs a quick confidence boost. Fun fact, the very first Goomba you see in World 1 Level 1, he hardly lasts a second before the average player stomps him flat. Let's call him prototype number 001, the original victim. He gets maybe a half a second of screen time tops. If that's not a depressing origin story, I don't know what is. Now let's break down what day-to-day looks like for your average Goomba. Spawn in Bowser's army, you're basically recruited without any say in the matter. There's no orientation, no welcome packet, no training montage. One moment, you're just a wide-eyed fungus fresh from the nursery. The next, you're wearing a scowl and marching off to your doom. Get tossed into a random level. Maybe it's a grassy field in World 1. Maybe it's a desert in World 2. Maybe it's an ice world in World 5. It doesn't matter. You're plopped down like a disposable toy soldier. You walk forward until something ends your existence. Lava pit, bottomless chasm, giant turtle shell, Yoshi's tongue, or that iconic plumber boot to your dome is a grab bag of misery. Oh, and by the way, you have no arms, zero, zilch. Want to punch Mario? Too bad, you can't. Want to block a projectile? Good luck, because all you've got are feet, teeth, and a frown. That only shows how upset you are about your predicament. It's like being permanently locked down in a never-ending treadmill of doom. Let's put this into perspective with a little Bowser Army career fair. Koopa Troopa, they have a shell for protection. If Mario stomps him, he can retreat inside or get thrown around like a projectile. It's humiliating, sure, but at least there's a built-in survival mechanism. Sometimes they even have wings. What about Shy Guy? They come with a mask and a sense of mystery. Some hold spears, some fly in helicopters, some pilot submarines. They're basically the ninjas of Mario's world. Hammer Bros? These guys throw hammers from a distance, making them formidable. They're essentially Bowser's special forces, feared for their unpredictability and spammy attack patterns. But Bomb might be a literal walking explosive, but at least it goes out with a bang and can actually take Mario down with it if timed right. Magic Koopa, they're wizards. They cast spells, transform blocks into enemies. They got full-blown magical abilities. They're basically Bowser's R&D department. And then, somewhere at the very bottom of the chain, you have the Goomba. Walks forward, occasionally stands on a ledge, stares into the middle distance until Mario shows up to end it all. Even Bowser himself probably forgets Goombas exist until he's short on troops. Oh right, we need more living speed bumps in World 1. Send in the mushrooms, not exactly a morale booster. Surprisingly enough, Goombas actually have lore. Deep inside the annals of Mario manuals and official guides, you find the Goombas were once loyal citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom. At some point, they chose to betray Princess Toadstool, Yes, back before she was widely known as Peach, and they joined forces with Bowser. These little traitors apparently turned their backs on the Toads in a quest for what exactly? Dark power, a better health insurance plan? Well, if that was the plan, it clearly didn't pan out. Because instead of climbing the ranks of Bowser's Legion, they've been relegated to the very front lines of every major conflict, like the world's most disposable pawns. So not only are they physically weak, but they're also social outcasts in the Mushroom Kingdom. They have no love from the Toads, no real respect from Bowser, and basically no standing in polite Mushroom society. It's like quitting your cushy corporate job to join a rival company that ends up making you mop floors and clean toilets with a toothbrush. You gave up everything and got no real perks in return. Congratulations, Goomba. Hope that worked out for you. Meet Tony, a typical Goomba stationed in World 1 Level 2. Every day Tony wakes up in a cramped underground pipe, trudges forward a few feet, and hopes, just hope, Mario doesn't show up with a fire flower or a superstar. Tony once dreamed of being a Chain Chomp, big, loud, menacing, but fate had other plans. Tony's schedule is simple. 6 a.m., wake up, notice no arms, feel sad. 6:15 a.m., march left to right, practice the scowl. 7 a.m., attempt to dodge Koopa shells, fail, respawn. All day, listen to the distant echoes of Mario collecting coins and 1-ups, contemplating the meaning of existence. 8 p.m., another stomp, another game over, respawn, repeat. And that's if Tony even survives the first wave. Often, he won't last a minute before Mario's big cartoonish boot flattens him like a pancake. No matter how many times Tony is stomped, burned, or launched into the abyss, he's forced to show up to work the next day. There's no retirement plan, no severance package, just infinite loop purgatory. If by some miracle Tony dodges Mario, guess what? He's probably going to wander off a cliff or into a random pit anyways. Because that's all Goombas do. Mindlessly trudge forwards, hoping the next step isn't their last, but usually it is. You might be thinking, surely Goombas have evolved over the decades, they can't all be so useless, right? Right? Well, let's consider a few variants. Paragoomba, a Goomba with wings that can hover or flutter jump, but guess what? Mario can still stomp them mid-air and they lose their wings immediately. Still just as helpless once they're on the ground. Goomba from Super Mario World, these guys don't get squashed flat on a stomp. They flip over and can be picked up like a Koopa shell. Still, they're used as a weapon against their own comrades, so ironically, might be even worse off. The giant Goomba, bigger size, bigger target, the only difference is that you might need a couple more stomps or a ground pound to finish them. In the end, they still fell. What about the spiked Goomba? They tried to stop Mario from jumping on them with a spiky hat or helmet. But as soon as Mario has a fire flower or a Koopa shell, it's back to the same humiliating defeat. You think that over the course of 30 plus years, some brilliant Goomba scientist would develop a protected exoskeleton or maybe a tiny shield, anything to prolong their survival by a few seconds. But no, the entire Goomba skill tree is basically a dead-end branch on the evolutionary chart. Their only real adaptation is a death stare that might slow Mario down for a half a second while he wonders, why does this mushroom look so angry? Now you might think, surely Goombas got their time to shine in spin-off games. Mario has about 1 billion of them. Mario Kart, Mario Party, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis. So does the Goomba ever get a chance to be the star? Short answer, no. In Mario Kart, Goombas are relegated to track hazards. They are obstacles that you drive around. They don't even get a playable slot on the roster. Heck, even Lakitu, who mostly waves a fishing pole around, made the cut as a racer in some games, but not the Goomba. What about Mario Party? Goombas typically show up to run the mini-games or stand on the sidelines. They hold signs, officiate, or watch the actual fun from the corners. They'll host a minigame about counting them, but ironically, they can't participate themselves because, you guessed it, they have no arms to roll dice or hold a tennis racket. The Mario sports titles, you You might see Goombas as background referees or fans in the stadium seats. Meanwhile, Toad, Koopa, or even Blooper get to swing baseball bats or tennis rackets. But if a Goomba ever tried to swing a bat, well, it has no arms, so that's a no-go. Even in Paper Mario, where enemies have dialogue and occasionally form alliances with Mario, Goombas are some of the earliest, easiest encounters. Basically a tutorial for the player to learn the jump mechanic. They have a few lines of text and maybe a comedic quip, but they're still Goombas. Lifelong losers in the grand scheme of the Mushroom Kingdom scoreboard. From a metagaming perspective, the Goombas have been a universal symbol of the basic enemy. Even non-gamers recognize the little brown mushroom that you stop in Mario. It's also a rite of passage, the first foe you encounter, the first stepping stone on your hero's journey. And sure, it's iconic, but also a curse, because that means Goombas are forever locked into the comedic role of the easiest enemy you can possibly defeat. Mario games thrive on patterns and familiarity. We like that the first thing you see in a Mario level is a slow-moving Goomba, because it's comforting, it's tradition, it's classic. But for the Goomba itself, that's an eternity of being humiliated from console to console, from generation to generation. Imagine a multi-decade career where your sole function is to be the punchline, the one that everyone can beat, no matter their skill level. You are the lowest bar, the tutorial. It doesn't matter if Mario is 8-bit, 16-bit, 3D, or even VR in the future. The Goomba remains the bottom rung, built to be squashed. So we've established the many reasons why it sucks to be a Goomba. No arms, bummer. Disposable fodder used as cannon or foot fodder in every single Mario game. There's zero respect, even Toad gets more hero moments, and lore betrayal. They're outcasts from the Mushroom Kingdom, yet Bowser barely acknowledges them. There's no skill progression. Spin-off appearances rarely let them do anything useful or heroic, but in a weird, twisted way that also makes the Goomba legendary. Think about it. You cannot have a Mario game without the Goomba. They are the unstoppable wave of chubby mushroom foot soldiers. They keep coming, keep marching, and keep providing that sense of classic Mario familiarity. No matter how many times they're defeated, they always show up again in the next level, like an unbreakable fungus that cannot be truly eradicated. There's a resilience there, a, dare I say, hero determination. Yes, they're doomed to fail, but they still show up. They still do their job. They don't complain, mostly because they don't have mouths that form coherent words. They're persistent, and that persistence is oddly inspiring. So the next time you're sprinting through World 1, Level 1, feet itching to stomp the first Goomba you see, take a moment, pause. Think about the life story of that little fungus. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the endless cycle of doom. Maybe give him a few extra seconds to waddle around before ending him with extreme prejudice. Rest in peace, Tony. May your next respawn be slightly less awful. And to everyone watching, thanks for tuning in to this unnecessarily deep dive into the existential crisis of an enemy that was literally coded to fail. If you got a laugh or I shed a ironic tear for our mushroom friends, do me a favor, drop a comment with your best Goomba survival strategy. And if you're a game dev out there, how about tossing these little guys a bone, a shield, a second jump? Any advantage would be nice. Until then, this is Zane Mercer signing off. Thanks for watching, and remember, like if you appreciate Tony and his endless cycle of doom, subscribe for more heartbreakingly funny exposés on gaming underdogs, and always keep a mushroom candy. You never know when you'll need an extra life.